And we're going to start the list with a little bit of a gem, with a little bit of an old school gem, and that is the Mercury Grand Marquis, or otherwise known as the Ford Crown Victoria or Ford LTD. Now I'm specifically referring to the late 80s and very early, maybe 1991 models of both of these cars. Now you got to keep in mind that owning an old Grand Marquis or Ford LTD, especially a $500 one, isn't going to be the prettiest thing you'll ever own. But of course, that's not his job. A $500 beater just has to get you from point A to point B, not break down too often, and be cheap to fix when it does. And that perfectly describes the Ford Motor Company's Eternal Panther platform pretty nicely. Of course, you guys know I'm a Crown Vic enthusiast, and it makes me very proud to know that even my old 1980s Panther ancestors are still running the streets to this day. And number 9 on the list, of course, we're not going to just do all American cars. This list is going to be very comprehensive because we're going to bring at number 9 the Jaguar XJ6, or like they pronounce across the pond, the Jaguar. Now, old Jaguars aren't exactly famed for their reliability, but hey, at $500, you'll have some extra cash laying around for repairs. Pick up this beautiful XJ6, and even if you can't get it to move, you'll still have increased all property values in a 300-yard radius. And making its way to number 8 on the list, we have the good old Jeep Grand Cherokee. Now, few cars can match the off-roading prowess of a Jeep, and almost none can match it at a price this low. Head off-road in this one, and you'll be hearing plenty of clunking noises to distract you from one already coming from under the hood. But with a bunch of Jeeps out there, and especially the enthusiast community and the very strong forum community, you won't have any issues finding repair parts for your Jeep. And just keep in mind that that Jeep might have cost you $500, but there's a reason that it stands for just empty every pocket. And making its way at number 7, of course, I have some fond memories of this car, especially when, you know, your parents used to take you to church or to school, or your best friend's parents used to drop you off at soccer practice. Of course, I'm talking about the Chevy Astro minivan. Now, this van not only serves many purposes. You can convert it to a mobile car wash. Heck, you can even use it for your construction business or your pet grooming business. Or you can just use it to commute from point A to point B, although I would definitely try not to show up to high school, especially if you're just starting out with one of these minivans. But hey, for $500, you sure as heck can't beat the dependability of an old Chevy van like this. And the versatility. You can use this thing to haul junk and make some extra money on the side. The possibilities are endless, and it will definitely pay for itself over the time. And making its way to number 6, we have any F-body Camaro that needs a little bit of work. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect, but, you know, with a little bit of work, you can definitely, and especially with a little bit of digging and a lot of patience and a lot of research, you can definitely pick yourself up an F-body Camaro for $500. Now, yes, it might not be in pristine condition. You'll have to put a little bit of elbow grease to drive it, but you got to keep in mind, in its glory days, the old Camaros were definitely on top of their game. And if you just happen to pick up a V6 model, even better, because you can definitely find those for $500. Now, with some digging, you might just be able to find a Z28, but it will need some work, so make sure you have a little bit of extra cash on the side after you spend your $500 to purchase one. And making its way to number 5, this is actually one of my personal favorites. This car right here is definitely making a comeback. You know, it's one of those cars that with time, it tends to get a little bit more badass, and it tends to get a little bit prettier. Although just a couple of years ago, most of us watching this video wouldn't be caught dead in one. And of course, I'm talking about the Volvo 240. Now, a lot of people have been turning this car into a drift missile, not to mention that it is a Volvo, which was and probably still is on the pinnacle of safety. Volvo was definitely an innovator when it came to safety back in the day, so you will get a car that, even though it's definitely aged and might not even age that well. It's definitely going to be very safe compared to other cars of the same year. So if you just so happen to find an old Volvo 240, just go ahead and pray a little bit so you can fix that mysterious engine noise that is causing it. Hey, you might just have yourself one badass drift missile. And making its way to number 4, it's definitely another car that is known for its reliability, and actually a certain percentage of these cars are still on the road almost 20 something years later. Now when you're in the hunt for a $500 beater, project, or beginner car, this is definitely something that you want to hear. And of course, I am referring to the Subaru Legacy. Now, I mean, you know, we just start making a list here for a second. For $500, you get all-wheel drive. That's right, full-time all-wheel drive. You get reliability. I mean, most Subarus are known to be reliable unless, you know, you're one of those STI guys that you tinker around with it and you screw it up. It's also a wagon, so it has the versatility and usability that comes with owning a wagon, and it even comes with frameless doors. I mean, what more can you ask for $500? If you're lucky enough to find one of these things, maybe $500-700. If you're pushing it, you can definitely lower that price down to $500. I will jump on that in a heartbeat. And coming up to number 3, we have the Pontiac. That's right, kids. There was once upon a time, there was actually a car brand named Pontiac that was sadly discontinued, but we have the Pontiac Fiero. But let's be real here. Let's be honest. You can find a lot of cars for $500 that have an engine in the front. But how many can you find with an engine in the middle? Well, at least one. Because the Fiero, after a little TLC, will run with its mid-engine brethren like the Ferrari 458 and McLaren MP4 12C. Yeah, okay, that's not true, but you're saving a lot of money and you're getting a mid-engine sports car, especially if you get the one with the V6. Definitely a throwback from the 80s. You gotta pick one up if you find one, especially for $500. All right, and the number 2 car holds a spot near and dear to my heart because I actually considered buying one of this, and I was actually on the market for one of these, so I can attest that you really can pick one of these up for $500. And of course, I'm talking about the mid-90s to early 2000s Ford Focus. Now, this was when Ford was, you know, experimenting. These were the Fast and Furious days, and a lot of kids were in the market for a hot hatch, and you know, the Ford Focus definitely filled that void. Now it has worn a little bit with the time. It's kind of just a little bit of weird, but back in the day, this thing was hot. But those 4-cylinder Fords, man, it was and still is one of the best driving compact cars around. And we're going to end the list with number 1, and that is the BMW 320i. Now, I'm specifically referring to the mid-80s to late 80s and even early 90s. Now, a lot of people are going to be E30, E30, E30. So goes the channel, the people who haven't looked at E30 prices in a while. Now, while this isn't an E30, it's still a remarkably clean and good-looking BMW coupe. Now, this one will require a little bit of work to make it roadworthy. But once you're out there, you'll be having so much fun. You'll wonder why people keep going on about adding 9 to your E21. And that is going to be it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. If you didn't, don't forget to hit that thumbs down. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this once a week or whenever I have time to make them. Either way, leave in the comments down below. Did I leave anything out? Was one of the cars that I mentioned your first cars, and did you get it for $500? Either way, it's your boy, Mr. Random. I will catch you guys on the next one.